has been roughly a month since the Super Bowl concluded and NFL season came to an end. After a relative period of silence, after a period of calmness, things came roaring back to life with the start of NFL free agency. It has become without question one of the most exciting parts of football's calendar, perhaps only behind the NFL playoffs, the regular season, and for folks like me, fantasy football drafts. Free agency, right there, perhaps number 4, number 5, where you slot it behind the NFL draft. Who, though, doesn't love free agency? Well, apparently the folks over at Major League Baseball. Several high-profile free agents remained unsigned, and there is never a rush for any team to sign anyone ever. The offseason is just a slow, painful, boring process devoid of any excitement or any attention. Really, it's just another self-inflicted wound for a sport that seems to be desperate to stomp out anything resembling fun. I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is the Touchback, and today, well, the NFL free agency period is awfully fun, and Major League Baseball just doesn't seem to get it.
Good leads. Struck him out. Jeez. Wow.
People really want to like baseball, but MLB has no desire to like them back. What they love is money, and fans and players and every other stakeholder is just sort of in the way. That is made all the more evident when you look over to NFL free agency and you just see all the festivities, all of the fun. It's really just for everyone. It brings everyone together. You're getting wall-to-wall coverage of a sport that honestly shouldn't have any right to be in the news some 6-7 months away from the start of the regular season. Make no mistake, the NFL is just as greedy and just as conniving as Major League Baseball. The difference, though, is that at least they give everyone a carrot every once in a while. The MLB is all stick all the time. Football is more than happy to provide us with opportunities and reasons to get excited about the teams and players. It's really just a chance for everyone to celebrate the sport as a whole. What free agency really is, though, it's free publicity, it's free attention, it's a chance to get everyone talking about your product in what would otherwise be a dead time, a time filled with more mundane activities. That's what free agency is ordinarily, right? It's just guys signing contracts, player movement, but the NFL and really the NBA and NHL as well, they've all come together to make free agency an event, a date on the calendar you look forward to. These early derbies for players, these bidding frenzies, all of the talk, all of the rumors, all the conjecture, trades, transactions, it's great. Like, it is exactly what you want from sports. If we're being completely honest, free agency is bigger and better than it has any right to be, especially in the case of the NBA, where it may be the second best thing the league has on offer. I mean, NBA playoffs still number 1, but I would slot maybe free agency at number 2. It's certainly ahead of the regular season right now. Give me free agency any day of the week over whatever the in-season tournament was supposed to be, but let's not get sidetracked on that right now. All the way back in early December, Major League Baseball held its winter meetings, which is sort of the unofficial start of the offseason. The big story there, of course, was Juan Soto being traded to the Yankees. There were a few other signings, but it wasn't like we saw with the NFL and the start of its free agency period. And since that event way back in December, the Major League Baseball offseason has just plodded along. It is just slowly drip, drip, drip. It is the offseason equivalent to Chinese water torture. Who needs buzz and excitement? Who needs fans invested in your product at a time when they would otherwise be distracted by something else? None of that matters when you can be busy nickel and diming players out of tens of thousands of dollars, even though you're allegedly billionaires. Let's just drag out the entire thing for months and months on end with no conclusions in sight. Blake Snell still isn't signed to a team right now. But perhaps even more interestingly is that teams don't even need to be paying players a full salary for this season, not in the era of deferred money. There are franchises who can just kick the can down the road some 20 and 30 years and negotiate contracts today for money dispersed in, who knows, decades later. What really just sort of grates on me about the MLB offseason and kind of the sport in general at this point is that the entire thing is just oozing pretentiousness. Seriously, MLB feels like it's one of those snobby British lords or ladies who uses inane phrases like stand on your honor as they look down upon everyone else. They are the type that love lecturing you about topics such as character and dignity, despite having lived a lavish life of luxury based on ill-gotten gains from centuries ago. We do need to be fair here. It's not a problem that entirely falls on Major League Baseball and owners. Scott Boras certainly plays a role in all of this nonsense as well. Why he has been allowed to monopolize the player market as far as representation is concerned is beyond me, because this is certainly not a good thing. The tactic of simply trying to wait teams out in search of more money is cheap. So too are all of the teams trying to wait him out. Like, this is like these two sides just took a introduction to business class. This was the first negotiation tactic they learned, and now it's all they know. Worse though for me are the teams who have decided that they just aren't going to spend any money because it is better to be bad and cheap than mediocre and slightly competitive. This is as good of a time as ever to mention that Rob Manfred added more teams to the postseason so this very thing wouldn't occur, and it is still occurring, perhaps even more frequently. The whole idea was that more obtainable playoff spots would see teams try harder to be competitive and be more willing to sign free agents. Not only did that never happen, but we have a baseball postseason that has become nothing more than an exercise in randomness. Is 162 games really not enough to separate the wheat from the chaff? By the way, how have all of those changes and tweaks done to help while we're sagging playoff ratings? Oh yeah, swing and a miss. Back to free agency and this game of chicken between teams and Scott Boras. All this has done is turned what should be a very exciting and a very talked about and a very engaging part of Major League Baseball's calendar and turned it into nothing more than an afterthought. And it was done for no particularly good reason at all. Look at the NFL. Look at all of the fun the NFL is having right now and all of the attention it's getting, all of the ratings it's drawing on just talk about free agency. We are 7 months away from the NFL regular season kicking off, and all anyone wants to talk about is football. The baseball season starts in roughly 2 or so weeks, less than that if you count the Soul Series, and there is almost no one really interested about baseball right now. I mean, sure, there's some talk, there's some information out there, there's some content out there, but it is becoming a smaller and smaller corner of the sporting universe. Seriously, if you remove the Los Angeles Dodgers, the teams from Texas, and maybe the AL East, pretty much no one could give a crap about baseball heading into the 2024 campaign. That is not good. Look, I'm not saying making the offseason more exciting and more notable will fix every problem the MLB has caused for itself in recent times. Far from it. But giving fans a reason to care and a reason to pay attention, well, it certainly can't hurt matters. As I said earlier in the video, I believe people want to like baseball. People want to get into the sport of baseball. But you can't do that if there's nothing for them to sink their teeth into. There's no reason for them to get excited. Just about every other sport out there has turned their free agency periods into a spectacle, into something that fans of every team, no matter how good or how bad, can pay attention to and can be invested in. But not MLB. No. They are too good for that. They have too much character to be doing such things. Who needs fun when you have your dignity, after all? Don't take my word for that, though. Just look at how much the NBA offseason coverage will bury Major League Baseball. Absolutely dominates Major League Baseball when free agency is first beginning. Hell, even in the dog days of summer, we're now seeing people as interested in watching NBA Summer League games as they are Major League Baseball games. The NBA Summer League, by the way, nothing but a majority of players who will never make an NBA roster simply playing out random games in Las Vegas, and somehow that has become bigger and more interesting than baseball. The old joke back in the day was that the NFL stood for no fun league, and that was certainly true. Even today, when you look at the big picture and you see some of the things Roger Goodell and those owners do, it's not always in the best interest of the sport. It's not always done to benefit fans or make things more entertaining or whatever the case may be. But as far as eliminating fun, as far as eliminating interest in a sport is concerned, no one has done a better job of that than Major League Baseball. Ratings are down, attendance is propped up by a handful of teams, and the way the sport is played, the way Major League Baseball is played, hasn't been this boring since like the early 20th century and the dead ball era. I mean, no one is excited about watching an MLB game because it's just everyone doing the same damn thing. The league can't even get something as simple as making free agency exciting, a task that every other sports league has accomplished. Much like those old fuddy-duddy British lords clamoring on about how it used to be better in the old days when you could brutalize the help, or rambling on and on about some other nonsensical and patently incorrect thing, there can be no debating MLB doesn't get it, and it's starting to feel like they never will. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about how those early 1990s Oakland A's could have been a baseball dynasty but were derailed by all kinds of issues, well, video upper right hand corner of your screen is the place to go. Until next time, I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is The Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.